Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Kent. I'm joined today with Grandma. Hello, Grandma.
Hello, Kent.
We left it with a cliffhanger last time.
Yes,
What do you think is happiness, Grandma?
I think we are all born with happiness. We are born with bliss and happiness. That is our natural state. And then life happens. That's what I think.
Yeah. So
What, what do you think?
I think you are onto something because if you see the purest kind of people are babies, and
Yes,
they are pure happiness or not. So I think it goes from there and upwards, I think.
yes,
But when you come to a certain age, let's say you as an adult, I think you can do many things and make happiness a choice, actually.
yes, you can. And
Mm.
it may seem, mm, it may seem an easy statement for someone, or even even a statement which is not very compassionate.
Mm.
And I think I need to be a little personal with this because when I was a little child, uh, I was very lonely, very abused, sexually abused, violently abused, neglected. And thinking back at that period, I didn't know. I couldn't put into words when I was a child. But I came to realize that what I was longing for when I was a little girl was that people would know the truth. And I was absolutely convinced that if people knew the truth about what was happening in my life, everything would be different. So I think also that truth is a very important component when it comes to happiness.
Your own truth or truth in general?
The truth,
That truth, yeah.
yes,
How do you
because
think this
no,
evolves over the years, you think, from your childhood until now?
I think that's why that's maybe why truth is so important to me today. And I still think the truth is a very important component when it comes to happiness. If you're not if you're not living in truth, I think it's quite impossible to be happy. So and and also, um, during a lifetime, it's not possible to be happy all the time because if you live a long life, you will, every human being on the planet will experience trauma of some kind. They will lose someone to death. Um, yeah, some kind of trauma. Every man and woman on the earth will experience. So, but but I think, like for me today, Despite all the trauma, I feel a kind of happiness because I have chosen the truth. And I'm looking for the truth every day in every aspect of life, whether it comes to all the things we have been through with COVID and war and everything like this. I look for the truth. And just looking for the truth gives a sense of happiness. And also, I think happiness is have to consist of absence of things you learn when you grow up. And some of the things you learn when you grow up has to do with fear. So, yes, I think.
Why do you think, as humans, we are so quick to compare ourselves with others?
That's also based in fear. We are scared to be different. We are scared to not belong. It's a basic human need, this, to belong to something. And I think it's very important to choose what you want, what and who you want to belong to. If you want to belong to, like I used to do for many years, I wanted to belong to society because I felt I was not a part of society because of the family I grew up in, and people around me was, how to say, rejecting me because of the family I came from and stuff. And it's important to choose well what and who and where do you want to belong, because this sense of belonging, it's a part of the basic needs, like food and drinks and everything like this.
So how has your childhood affected your career as an adult? Because you have done many great things, actually. We have mentioned some of those before, and I will consider you as a very successful person. Has your childhood and your experiences affected this, or fueled this in any way?
Yeah, it's very strange hearing you say that because I don't see it like this myself. But maybe it's true.
So if you sell among the most books in a whole country,
Yeah.
like you're pretty successful.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
maybe,
maybe it's true
yeah.
like this. Yes. And what I was writing about, World War II and the occupation of Norway, was also a part of telling the truth. That has been the major driving force behind everything.
It seems
And
to be like a baseline,
yes,
finding the truth.
it's a baseline. Absolutely, it is. And when big things happened, like COVID, for example, or to say, when something happens which I feel is affecting me, I immediately start to look for the truth. And this I did with COVID also. And also I got, how to say, I got very sick, you can say, from all the trauma in my childhood. And when I was looking for help to get through this, and I was also looking for the truth. And that was when I was totally rejecting psychiatry, because something in me knew that this is not the truth. This is something very, very bad. The psychiatric approach with pills and stuff, you know?
I haven't tried it. What I see, a lot of society is dependent on this today.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I'm not sure if I have challenged my own demons in a way to maybe not use those things.
yeah.
But
Like in Norway, for example, with 5 million people, 300,000 people are on SSRI, antidepressants.
that's a lot
And
of people.
that's a lot of people, yes. And the pharmaceutical industry, of course, mm, um, at some point they were seeing people struggling with things in their life as an opportunity to make money. It's as simple as this. And psychopharmaca is the #1 industry in the world. At least it was before COVID vaccines. I don't know if COVID vaccines have been exceeding this at the moment, but and you can see they went from this antidepressant pills and sedating pills, sleeping pills, all these pills. They went from this, and when they conquered the people with this, they was turning to the children. And now millions of children all over the world, they are on pills for this ADHD and what they call it. So
But it's strange to see because I am a normal guy and you are a normal woman also. We don't have any education in this. I think it's
no,
important for the people to understand this.
mm,
But when you see like the broad picture in things, and you see that over the last years, you see the pharmaceutical companies are pushing more and more vaccines on kids.
mm,
There are more and more drugs used for fun and for so-called health. And it seems like everybody is getting sicker. You see the government pushing here in Norway, like we mentioned before, it's Bouvayer,
mm,
and everything leads to things that we people don't want because we want to be normal and have a content and happy life and most of us at least to have a family and maybe raise some kids and it seems everything like this has been more and more difficult in the West. We seem to chase a hedonistic lifestyle. And if you
Yeah.
want to do this, be my guest, of course. But I'm not sure if that makes you more happy. Because,
No, it's obvious it don't.
yeah, and you
Because if
see,
it was, we wouldn't need all these pills.
hmm,
Mm.
I think
And
so when
also,
I say to you, real food, real people, real thoughts, and a real life, what do you think of this?
mm, if you take away pharmaceutical industry, if you start there, a lot of things would be better. For example, mm, antidepressant, mm, yeah, some of the main side effects is uh, suicidal behavior and homicidal behavior. So I don't understand why people don't see this. And one of the main side effects from COVID-19 vaccines is COVID-19. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's so crazy. And and it's so, this has gotten so big that it's it seems totally impossible to stop it, because it's not only the drugs, it's also so many people make their living from this. Pharmacists, the people who work in the pharmacy, people who work in the hospital, people who work in care. Um, it's so big.
yeah. But when I say being thankful, not only for the big things, but for the
Mhm.
small things also, and being
Yes.
actually thankful to using the words, expressing yourself. So if you say in your mind, thankful for and being thankful for example, our conversation now. I'm thankful for this conversation because I enjoy it.
Yes.
I like the conversations with my friends, with my family. I like my family, of course. I like taking a cup of coffee in the morning and actually being thankful for it. Thankful for waking up in the morning. Because not a lot of people now are comparing themselves with the neighbor, with the celebrities, with
Mm.
the people with power. And being, I think it's underrated being normal. That's the point.
Yeah.
If you constantly look over the fence and looking at your neighbor and judging if he has a slightly newer car than you and slightly more beautiful wife and more good-looking children or like this, I don't think it's good for you as a human.
No, absolutely not.
So
And
being
being
thankful, Brahma,
grateful
what
and
does that
being
mean
great.
for you?
Oh, being grateful is, I think, is the biggest contributor to my happiness,
Hmm.
because um, on a daily basis, I can get overwhelmed with gratefulness. Just um, just to go to the grocery store and I have the money to buy bread and something to eat for dinner, I can be overwhelmed with gratefulness because I have a car to drive, that I have hot water in the shower, that I have heat in my house in the winter. I used to keep a journal with everything I was grateful for. And I was writing it in that one every day.
Yeah, so when you see a lot of people in the world today doesn't have power in their house. And we that uses this platform and looking at the shows on the streaming channels, and we don't think about everyday comfort like this. So when you compare yourself, I think you should actually be thankful, especially if you compare yourself to just a few years ago. So my point is that everybody has something to be thankful for.
Yes.
People lead different lives. They have struggles, varied kind of struggles.
Yes.
But I think to find your own happiness, you have to find something in your life that actually you are thankful for. And expressing this thankfulness is something I think people should do every day.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, to be sincere, if people did this, we could kick psychopharmaca goodbye. Simple as this. Not to underestimate that people are suffering. Absolutely not. Because I used to be one who was very, very traumatized about my childhood and had big psychological problems. But when I was a child, my father also was suffering like this from from his experiences during the war. And as a little girl, I was watching him being admitted to a psychiatric hospital by force. And I was watching how they was treating him. So and this I'm grateful for, because I was lucky. I was very lucky to have experienced this. And I knew when I had big, big problems myself, I knew that psychiatry was out of the question. For me, it was, I would rather die than to go to a psychiatric hospital or to take even one of their pills.
Why do you think people choose something else?
Yeah. And that can be difficult. Can. But my point is with this is that society in general, especially in the West, are infected with this very toxic lies again, that pills can solve psychological problems, because it's not how to say, to treat a problem who is not rooted in the body, because the psychological things is how to say, is a part of, it's not biological. And to treat a problem which is not biological with medication, it can only create more problems. It's as simple as this.
If people disagree with you, what do you think the argument would be?
I think many people can experience some relief from taking anxiety, for example. If you give sedatives for anxiety, you will feel relieved. And but it's not solving the problem. It's only sedating the problem. So, yeah, this is one of the very big lies in society today, sadly.
I think a lot of people find their answer, you can say, in religion.
Yes.
How
Yes.
can they do that compared to what you're saying?
I know some people who was using alcohol to sedate their problem, and was replacing alcohol with Jesus. And it's a much better way to do it, of course. But still, it's not, how to say, it's not solving their problems. I've seen people who use religion as a substitute for drugs. So, and with this psychiatric approach or psychopharmaca approach, people are kept in the dark, that we are born happy and meant to be happy. Doesn't mean we don't have problems. Of course, if you live a long life, you will experience losing someone to death. You will experience things who don't feel good, of course.
How do you think confidence fits in all of this, in yourself?
Confidence have to do with truth again. I immediately, when you say this word, I immediately is brought back to be a little girl. When I was walking in, how to say, when I was walking around in society, wishing that all the people knew the truth. I was convinced if people knew the truth, I would be treated totally different. I was totally convinced about this. But at that time, I was a little girl and I didn't know that, like I know now, that it was me who had to treat myself different. It was me who had to recognize the truth and treat myself according to the truth.
Find
Took
this
me many years
interesting.
to learn this.
So I also reflect a little over this because if I look at myself, I feel like a square peg trying to fit in a round hole.
Yeah.
You do what you can to fit in this hole, but you know it's not for you. And at least for some of us, I think you maybe find the realization that it's okay to be the square peg in the round hole, and being a little different and taking other choices. But so it's easy to say that you are maybe on the outside a little, but I think so-called normal people would maybe also feel that they could be the square peg in the round hole. Because I think we are different, everybody. We are also the same, but we face a lot of the same challenges, same joys, and a lot of the same lives in a way. I think it's just important to say that it's okay to feel different and feeling not like the others, and find something that develops your confidence. It can be the small achievements in school or work or something like this, because it only matters how you see yourself in the mirror to find this confidence and to find
Yes.
the truth. I think will also be easier if you have some self-awareness and self-esteem in a way. Am I
I'm
right
not sure
now,
if
or
I'm not even sure if you need self-esteem. I think um, I think we have this from birth, and it's a lie. I think it's a lie that we don't have this, because mm, um, just to be born is a miracle. Just to be a human is a miracle, and
I
to
can
be
understand
different.
that you're saying this, but
Yeah,
I do believe that some people that feel bullied and feel different and feel as they're in themselves, it may not be reality, but in
no,
themselves they have been talked down, or they have been experienced some things that their self-esteem is not so very high.
mm, yes,
So
yeah, but
I
this
think of
is the
this.
big lie. I think we have self-esteem. The big lie is that we think we don't have this. I'm thinking like this, and I'm not trying to um, degrade the feeling of low self-esteem or something. I'm just um,
But now you have accomplished you have things. You have risen to a place in society that nobody can take away from you. You have become a success, I would say. How does this compare to earlier years? Was it the same, or has it evolved?
it's only the feeling who's different, I will say. Nothing else, only the feeling, only my perception of myself. And
Do you see any differences between ourselves here, Europe, Scandinavia, the West, compared to other continents, Africa, Asia, South America, Australia? You think everybody feels the same way?
No, I don't. No, I don't. But I think the basic of all things is that we are not different. We just feel like it. That's what I'm thinking. I don't feel more successful than for example, I have a very good friend who walks the streets and live in the streets in Oslo. I don't see myself as more, how to say, successful than he is or something like this. No, absolutely not. I don't know how to explain this. It's a quite difficult topic. It's a quite difficult topic.
Well, it's one thing to compare yourself to others, but if you compare yourself to the younger version of yourself,
Yeah.
like the 20-year-old BI, do you think she would think that you could be one of the best-selling authors in Norway?
Absolutely not. It was my dream since I was a little girl, but I was not thinking I could achieve something like this. But and to be sincere, that fact didn't play a big role in my life or in my how to say, self-esteem or something like this. No, absolutely not.
How do you think, so if happiness in general, has it evolved, you think, over the years? Or does the people now face the same things as, for example, during the Second World War?
I think it's quite the same, and that's one thing who amazed me all the time, that we have as a society we have made quantum leaps forward with technology and all things with uh, technology and information and everything like this. But the people, they didn't develop. People are the same. That's amazing to me. And yeah,
You think this goes only to that part of the time, or do you think it goes hundreds of years back or for all time?
hmm. I think maybe before the pharmaceutical industry, I think we were onto something when it came to human development. But the pharmaceutical industry was managing to stifle all of this. I'm absolutely sure about this. And not only with psychological development, but with physical development as well. So Yeah.
Hmm.
Next to the wars, psychopharmaca is the biggest disaster ever happened in human history. That's my opinion about this.
Hmm. Interesting as always, Grandma. What do you think about the pandemics? You think this affects anything?
Yes. Yes. And there you have this pharmaceutical industry again.
Maybe it's a tough topic for next time, Grandma.
Yes, I think so. Yes. We will speak about COVID and their so-called vaccines.
Thank you for today.
Thank you, Kent.
Thank you for the audience for listening.
And
See
this
you
was
next time.
nice as always.
Interesting as always. See you guys next time.
Yes, yes.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.